So I have two. Let me ask you this: one not serious, one serious. The first one: do you know how the internet works on like an infrastructure level?
On an infrastructure level, I mean, the very, very basics of it, yeah.
Word. So this is a really finite detail of this. I was talking to Cody after the draft last weekend, and Cody has all these special certifications in like fiber optic work and all this type of stuff. Cody told me that the cable, the actual fiber optic cable that runs the fiber optic, is the width of a human hair.
Word.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you can transmit a lot of data through, because it's done through like light or something
Yeah,
like that.
what the fuck?
It's some weird
wrapped up
weird stuff
with a bunch of other cables, but
Yeah.
the one that actually does the internet is just a human hair
Yeah.
in the middle. What the fuck is that?
Hashtag technology, bro.
Get out of here.
That's where we're going.
Get out of here.
I remember when if you wanted cable, man, you had to get that big the big
Yes.
thick thing, and you'd screw it in the back of your TV
Yes.
and all that, and then
The
everything was
coaxial.
still, the coaxial cable,
Exactly.
and it's still shitty.
Yeah.
We still use that. I mean,
Yes.
out here it's plugged into my fucking modem
And
right
if
now.
the little prong in the middle gets fucked up, it's impossible to
Yeah.
get into the TV at that point.
Yep, which is not fun.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the proper. Let me ask you this. Right?
Do you know how the internet works?
Yes. No. So, and this is an opinion question, like much of these things are. If you're new here, let me ask you this. Is a question that I come up with on the side that I pose to Colin, and he has no preparation for it. It's completely off the cuff. So that's how we do this starting segment here. Let me ask you, do you think that the Founding Fathers expected 250 years from 1776 that we would still be the United States? Or do you think we would have been chunked up by then? And if you do think so, do you think they expected we would still be using the same documents that they crafted at that time? Or do you think that they would have, do you think they would have expected that we would have come up with our own shit? Doesn't like us.
Yeah, that was weird. Something's going on there. The cable's on the camera. Hopefully that holds out. I had some issues with that when Josh Keaton was here, but it kind of resolved itself. So hopefully that'll do the same. So do I think the founding
fathers expected that we would still be the United States 250 years from the time they crafted the documents?
I think they definitely expected that what they conceived of as the United States would still exist. I'd have a hard time believing they would have, in their wildest dreams, expected it to exist in the state it exists now.
Yeah.
With because how can you conceptualize as 13 colonies what 300 plus million people looks like? That's a tough thing. I mean, it's hard for us to these days to conceptualize, say, 80,000 people, unless you equate it to like, oh yeah, a football stadium or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to conceptualize that. So I would say they probably didn't really truly understand what it might look like. But then again, the foundational aspects of this government that they set up, they would not recognize it today from anything that we have, our current system, the way it looks. They wouldn't recognize it at all because it's completely contrary to everything they built.
Yes.
But I don't think they'd be surprised that we would be relying on the same foundational documents. I think it would be looking at the scale of everything. They'd be like, well, where's all the rest of the documents? Like,
Yeah.
What else have you guys got to like make sure that you can operate this thing at the scale you do? That wouldn't seem out of the realm for me. But no, I think right now, I mean, we hear it all the time. The Founding Fathers would be rolling in their graves that they could see what we've done with this thing
Right.
that they set up.
Even
I think that's a pretty strong. I think there's a lot of evidence to say that they'd come out of their graves and they'd die again because they'd have another heart attack and it'd be game over. Like, what the fuck did you guys do with this thing?
If they showed up here and said like, so what do you got? Like, what have you done since then?
Yeah.
And all we have to show them is like volumes of law and federal regulation.
Yeah.
They'd be like, this is not it.
This is not it, man.
Not what we were talking
No.
about. This is not what we meant.
Like,
when
we gave you one piece of paper and you guys have literally just cut away at it.
Yeah.
Like that
That's not
doesn't
good.
seem like.
Yeah.
I mean, you added. I see you guys added some things. That's good. I like that. I like what you added. I don't like some of the stuff you added. What do you mean we can't drink anymore?
Like
That's
it says
weird.
at the top that you can't do anything about this.
Exactly.
It says that at the top. It's part of the
Yeah.
paper.
So who does this? Oh, the government itself does this.
Yeah.
Oh, Well, that's not right, guys. That's not the way this whole thing's supposed to work.
That's actually exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
Yeah, don't let that happen.
Yeah. But again, I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, you did a really good job talking about this in your review preview this last week.
Thank you.
The idea that, what's the point I was trying to make? The concept that like liberty at scale could still exist, or with the current system we have now, like you'd have to go back to an earlier system that was much more simplified, because it was so much easier to have a representative democracy like that, like a true representative democratic republic, when there was only a handful of people,
right?
Because the actual concerns of the everyday citizens could more or less in some capacity be brought up forward to the upper levels of the government if that was to be needed. Whereas today, you're a really small fish in a really, really large ocean. And so the entire concept has been so bastardized that they wouldn't even recognize it as semi-coherent to what it is that they built, to be honest. And then especially looking at, like, I mean, every aspect of our entire governmental system right now is it's such a bastardized version of what it was they set out to build. So yeah, no, they ain't into it.
Yeah, no, I like it. And that, the last thing that I want to say before we move on to our proper topics is just, you talked about the review preview already, so we also have the other things. So Joseph Garrett said, we have the best constitution ever drafted, in my opinion, and a legitimate way of amending it. We just need to hold our leaders accountable for their complete failure to follow it. I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah, I like the concept.
Yep.
Fucking Matt Kibbe, dude. Matt Kibbe, towards the end of that book, really got on to that point.
Yeah.
You're saying this, we had the foundation's good, the skeleton was good, but by the time you add everything else on top to what we have, it's almost, the idea now, just going off of what Garrett was talking about, the idea now that if we just elect the right people, I don't know if that would do the trick.
Yeah.
I think the institution itself, the body, the thing of the government itself is it has such a strong immune system towards any external input now. I don't know if that would do the case anymore. We could elect, today's going thing is get the MAGA Republicans in there, get those America First candidates in the primaries and do all this. They're not, you could do that on a massive scale around the entire country. I still don't think that would do the trick, because the institution itself, the machine itself, is so incredibly impervious to externalities. It supports itself over and over again, and all it does is continue to get stronger.
And we talked.
Time will tell, but I don't think that would do the trick.
And we talked last week when we were doing the review preview. We talked in the review preview, so everybody go watch that. Even if you didn't read the Matt Kibbe book, definitely go check out the review preview, because it goes over a lot of that type of stuff and talks about what we're talking about right now. You're talking about stripping the federal government down to the bare bones, in which you can have liberty at scale, like you were talking about. You need an executive that's going to step in and start stripping away the excess pieces of the government that have been added on. The cancer that Ivan is talking about right here. Cancer
Shout out Ivan.
It says cancer is what you're talking about as soon as you add on everything else. That was not intended. So all of these three-letter agencies, all these alphabet agencies, all this bullshit that exists within the executive, all this stuff is additional things that have been added on that aren't part of the original intention of the executive branch.
Yeah.
So it requires... The idea that we could just trust leaders requires that we would get somebody in office who would actually strip those things away. And that, in and of itself, I don't have faith in, that someone will go in and just start immediately just tearing away agencies. Fuck the ATF. We don't need this anymore. This doesn't need to be here. States are going to handle this themselves. We don't need the fucking IRS anymore. Until we have it. Not until, because the point that I'm making is that's not feasible to me, right? And even if we did have somebody that was doing that, you're saying the immune system of that system itself is so strong that there would be endless legal battles that went on for much longer than 4 years or 8 years, however long that person is going to exist in that office, that are going to outlast him. And the moment that someone comes in, they're going to win on the opposite argument of, I'm going to bring all these things back because this guy's a fucking extremist. He wants to strip everything down away, everything that we've been built up that's keeping the fabric America the country where it is. We need these things. The ATF keeps us safe. The FBI keeps us safe. The IRS helps keep the government flowing, you know? That's exactly how the opposite of him is going to win.
Yeah.
And those things are going to go right back into place.
Yep. The white blood cells of the government body are the nameless, faceless individuals in gray suits. That's who would do it. Because at the end, and Congress, you'd have to have a Congress that would be on board with that too, because they're the holders of the purse strings and stuff like that. So they'd also have to sign off on the government allowing hundreds of thousands of its own employees be just gone.
Yeah.
And then there's pension systems tied to it. It is so it's so intertwined. It would be really, really hard.
And we had someone comment on one of our clips this week that was like, excuse me, I thought this was going to be a pro-democracy channel, right? And I think that's funny for a lot of reasons, but I think the real reason I think that's so funny is because it's easy, and we addressed the review preview too, it's easy to misconstrue this as like, all this is a waste, there's no point to any of this stuff, which is not, I think, how either of us feel. It's definitely not how I feel. I agree with Joseph that the Constitution that we have is the best one that's ever been drafted.
Word.
The country that we have here is the greatest country that has ever existed. 100%, right? I don't have any doubt in that at all. I don't have any doubt in the idea that people can collectively come together as individuals, choose to come together to do something together that will benefit the vast majority of them, if not all of them, the people who it doesn't benefit can go and do their own thing. Yeah. I believe in that system. I don't believe that system is possible out of what we have right now.
Yeah.
And that's the point that we're driving home all the time, that I think makes it easy to sound nihilistic. Just fuck everything else and fucking anarchy is the only way to go. From here to freedom, anarchy is the only way to go.
Word.
Because minarchism out of this system is difficult, if not impossible, to truly conceive of. You can theorize it. The idea exists. The possibility exists. Yep. But I don't.
And so does communism, right?
I don't think that it's feasible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the idea that like this show is anti-democratic is probably relatively true.
In the corest sense.
Yes, but to understand that we're very pro-America. We're pro an America. That's generally where we land, even through the avenues of anarchy or even libertarianism or whatever it is. We're still pro-America, but we're anti-U.S. government. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
I can be pro-America but anti-government because I believe to be American is to be anti-government.
That's a t-shirt right there.
Boom.
Pro-America, anti-government.
That's right.
And that is what this episode is called. Pro-America.
Anti-government.
Anti-government.
Write it down, baby.
There it is. I forget a lot.
Hey everybody, Colin here from Salt the Streets. Thank you for watching today's edition of Salty Shortz. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to check out the full episode right here on the Salt of the Streets YouTube channel. Please give us a like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to share this with all your friends. And you too can become a spreader of the message of liberty. Thanks.
Welcome to the Salt of the Streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready.